Hello, good Friday, everybody. On this last Friday of September, my, where have the year gone? 2021. We're already going into October, the last and final quarter of 2021. Good Lord. But hope everyone's safe. Hope everyone's good back home, watching us through any of the portals that we have, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or through any device that you have, whether it's your phone or whether it's the computer. Hope you're enjoying the evening entertainment that is Tech Talk Friday. I say entertainment because it can be entertainment sometimes. And hopefully you're ready to hear out our guests as well as be part of the conversation and join us and ask some questions and ensure comments coming along because we really would like to hear from you. And Tech Talk Friday is brought to you by Necole, our learning experience platform available to every single one of you out there. So if you want to quickly get started, you want to start learning, you want to start developing, you want to start preparing for your future with all kinds of learning methods on this platform, which is also available on web and phone. Go over to Necole.app, get your subscription, whether it's 3 months, whether it's a year, you choose. And right now, as long as you're watching the show, there's a special promo code. You can see it in the runner the below. The promo code being Roshan T Lead. Yep, Roshan T Lead. So use that promo code and you instantly get a 30% discount for your purchase of Necole today. All right. So now that's done. We got to get into Tech Talk because we've got some important news that we've got to break early in the show because we said we'll talk about this last week, but last week, because conversations went a bit longer than it should have, we got to do it early. But to do that, I got to bring the equal host of the show, the person from Digital News Asia, the legend himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on screen Karamjit Singh. There you go. Someone drinking. Oh, yo, nice couple. Yo. I've never seen Karam with these many colorful items on him, Usually it's his shirt, but today you see that he's got that yellow cup. He's got this very bright red and very shiny turban as well. So it's like dressed for some.
Yes.
From
No, because we are economy is gradually opening up. People are beginning to realize that we are in an endemic situation. No more pandemic, right? And the pick of the week is a great, very important story. We've got two amazing entrepreneurs on the show. So it's all chirpy. It's all chirpy.
It's all chirpy. Okay, so let's get the
Although,
little
sorry,
bit.
I'm a bit nervous because I'm going for my second jab right after this. So
Oh, good,
yeah,
good, 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 good.
AstraZeneca. So, but
Yeah.
I'm excited also because 2 weeks after that, I can go out because people already want to start meeting, right? Hey, Karam,
Yep.
let's meet for teh tarik or breakfast or dinner. So I said, not yet for sure. Give me 3 more weeks. So, Francis, bro, how are you, man?
Hi,
Another
Francis.
incredible, crazy entrepreneur who's taking on Google, right? You got to love crazy people like him.
Awesome. And maybe something for you, Karam. The second dose, usually you don't feel much. You
Hey,
just
I've
get
been
that and
told
you're
that the second dose you feel more. So that has freaked me out. I got coconut already. I got the
fine.
coconut milk. I say tomorrow you just park yourself outside my house in case I need non-stop intrafusion. So I am actually
Usually,
quite nervous.
yeah. So usually those who take the Pfizer dose usually gets a bit of a reaction for the second one. Those who take the
Oh,
AstraZeneca, like myself, my father-in-law, my family, all of us, second dose, we didn't feel anything.
oh, wow.
We felt a
I'm
little
so
bit
relieved to hear
tired, but
that.
okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm so relieved to hear that. I've been hearing opposite. So thank you so much. I suddenly feel my stress levels going down a bit. Great.
Good, 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 good. Be zen. Okay, so we got to break the news first.
Yes.
All chirpy, but we got to break this news. This is probably a bit of a mellow, sad news because Tech Talk Friday is going to be going on a different direction. So, therefore, this is actually going to be the last week we see Karam with us as a consistent host. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a host anymore. Doesn't mean he
All right.
won't come back on the show anymore, but as a consistent host because as Tech Talk being a show that we've been doing for a while, we've been imagining how can we make the show better? How can we
Yeah.
make the show more educational? How can we make the show move beyond news? And maybe news should be by itself because it should be covered in whole, but also educational items when it comes to the world of tech, with the innovation, the business, what it does for society should be covered well as well. So we'll be making some shifts to the show for Tech Talk Friday. Tech Talk Friday will still be going on. It'll still be brought to you by Necole. It's
Yep.
now going to become a bi-weekly show. And Karam will actually become like a special guest host who will come in from time to time to just grace us with his presence. So that is the little bit of a mellower news for everybody. So there will be some changes coming up. Hopefully, you guys will be excited for those changes. And I'm pretty sure from the Digital News Asia side as well, DNA, they've got Nadi that happens. How often does that happen?
Nadi, Nadi is just the Bahasa Malaysia word for pulse. So Nadi, Digital Economy Malaysia. I do it with my colleague Zoff. We record it on a Saturday, and then we put it up on a Sunday, or if I'm lazy, then Monday.
All right. And while we're talking, there you go. You see, this is our producers doing the vela.
No,
or their work.
Happy. No, change is good.
Change is good. But
pecah
hati sikit, tapi hati can mend back again and all be good, and change is good. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the news for what is about to happen to Tech Talk Friday. So the show's not going anywhere. It's going to be around. It's just going to shift in format a little bit. It's going to be 2 weeks once. Karam will join us from time to time as a guest host, but I will be here as your host here on out. And now we better get into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pick of the week. Karam has mentioned this is an important news. So the pick of the week this time around on Digital News Asia is this headline: E&E industry seeks government support for a strong rebound, strengthened foundation for gangbuster growth. Whoa, gangbuster growth. So what's the story about, Karam?
So this is amazing, right? I mean, everybody knows that. Actually, no. Supply chain disruptions have happened. And for Malaysia, our supply chain disruption in the semiconductor industry have rippled throughout the technology world. Companies which are listed in Japan, in US, have said that their revenue has been affected because not all exclusively, but factories in Malaysia, right, have had disruption, so they could not produce enough supply to meet market demand. And by the way, Malaysia it has approximately 7% of the global semiconductor trade, flows through Malaysia. 7%, right? This is in the many billions of US dollars. And by the way, our E&E sector, electronics and electrical, contributed 92.2 billion US dollars, right, in for Malaysia's total exports last year. And they already provide about 600,000 jobs. And this year, already in the first half of the year, we've had a 28% increase, right, in E&E exports, almost 30%. Can you imagine? Despite the supply chain disruptions, we've had 30% increase in exports for the semiconductor industry, which is why they're just growing gangbusters. And this was a commentary by Dato' Wong Siu Hai, who was a formerly ex-MD of Intel Penang. He's based in Penang. By the way, Dennis is from Penang. I'm from Penang also. I don't know where Kendrick is from, so this is a Penang heavy show right today.
And my kampung is also in Penang, so there you go.
There you go, man. Penang rocks, Penang rules. Okay,
I have to agree.
But anyway,
I have to agree.
So Dato' Wong made a point that, look, despite the disruption, the industry is doing very well. And, he's the president of the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, just newly set up. He says that they did a recent survey among their members, and 16 of the companies reported that they have or will invest in land, building, and capex of at least 4 billion ringgit, $1 billion US dollars, right? Over the next 2 years only, right? And they're going to provide 4,600 jobs. Right now, they already are short of so many jobs, right? They need lots of engineers, lots of, blue-collar workers in the assembly lines or so. But they're having problems. They cannot get enough because one thing, the government is still closing down some factories, when sometimes you have a breakout of infections. And the Malaysian Semiconductor Industry Association saying, don't do that. If in a factory has got 80% and above of workers vaccinated, fully vaccinated, don't do that, right? You must find a less dramatic way of dealing with the issue. Cannot close down because so many of the factories, semiconductor, are already over 80% in terms of their vaccination. We must be smarter because there's huge global demand coming to Malaysia. And if we don't get our act together, and we are getting it together now, companies which have plants in Malaysia and maybe have a plant in Puerto Rico, in Vietnam or somewhere else, right? They may shift the business and the work and the investments there because they said the Malaysian government is not, doing its part to help us meet this incredible demand, right, all over the world. So the Malaysian Semiconductor Industry Association, Dato' Wong, is saying, guys, let's get it. Let's do even more. The government has already done a lot over the decades, right? For us to be a key part of the semiconductor value chain. We say we need to do more to make sure that we cement and strengthen Malaysia's toehold, right, or grip of the semiconductor value chain, so we can become even a greater player. That's what the article is about. I encourage you to go read it. There are some very good data points there. But for me, one key concern is, right, a lot of the companies face up to 70% attrition rate within the 3-month period of new hires. 70% of new hires. And Dr. Wong says that this is because apparently the Gen Z, right, which is the last word of the last alphabet in the alphabet, apparently, restless and very hard to convince them. By the way, these are the blue-collar workers of Gen Z, not even your knowledge workers, and they still can be choosy like that. We choose that Malaysia is a land of plenty, where despite we know there's a lot of hardship, right, economic pain, our Gen Zs, after 3 months, at least in the semiconductor space, they're not happy, they'll just leave their jobs. Right? How amazing is that, right?
Yeah, and I was from the semiconductor line, working Texas Instruments.
My goodness.
Yeah, Texas Instruments, Malaysia. That's where I worked for 6 years of my life, and I completely, I kind of get it, though I don't condone it. That leaving a job in 3 months, because it is a different environment in there, and I agree with you that there is a bountiful opportunity in the semiconductor industry, especially since demand is so high that everyone is scrambling to actually try to meet those demands. And I kind of have this secret hope that one day we can go back to the glory days where we pick up an Intel chip or we pick up an AMD chip and we look right on top of it, written there, produced in Malaysia. That day will come back again. All right, so time for us to get our guests and also speak to them about a few topics. So our first guest, he was chatting with us before we started the show. We were getting a bit comfortable with the conversation as well. So let's bring him up. And this man is going to talk to us about his drive and how he was driven by his bitter childhood memory. He's got quite a story when I read his profile as well. So ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up on screen co-founder of Eclimo Motors, Dennis Chuah. Hey, Dennis.
Hi.
Hi, Dennis. You. You're Penang, we say
Yeah.
Okay, Dennis, look, I want to get started, right? You are the country's sole producer of e-bikes. I could be wrong. Maybe you know there's someone else there, but you're obviously the key producer, if not the sole. Can you give us a quick recap of how you got into this space from your previous business when you first started after your, after finishing your diploma, right, in Penang, where you were in the high-tech packaging space?
Thank you, Karam, for inviting Nigesh for inviting me for this session. It's my pleasure to share what I've been through for since year 2000 when I got involved into lithium batteries. How I just started to develop electric scooter or in the electric vehicle industry. It's way back in year 2000 already involved to lithium polymer battery manufacturing, which is very early started by the company which manufactured lithium polymer. And during that time, I was involved into the lithium polymer research on the cell packaging. Where I learned about the battery market. So we will come back where we all from Penang, and how I able to sustain this technology or this research until today is also from because of Penang. We have full of talent, which is from the semiconductor industry. So that's how I able to grow until today. Yeah.
Okay, so now you're in the so look, your decision, right? So you're in you're doing e-bikes now, and you have gone into and your main business is subscription. Although I know you told me that, have you started selling bikes on your website already? Now individuals can buy it, or is it next month? Yeah, Dennis.
Allow me to start from where I from the time where I was sharing that lithium polymer battery manufacturing.
Okay.
But I started Eclimo in year 2008. Why I wanted to start this electric scooter or this electric vehicle is because my experience that I already have the lithium batteries, and lithium battery is very suitable for electric vehicle. Lithium, in terms of rechargeable battery, there are not much of rechargeable batteries that it's suitable to apply to electric vehicle. But lithium is as of today is the only technologies that can able to support. Then from there in 2008, because of the battery technologies that I have, I believe that I will be able to make it into two-wheelers. Why I don't go into four-wheelers? Because it's going to take a lot of R&D. And when you go into two-wheelers, it's something where I be able to complete it. I believe that I will be able to complete it. That is very important. And because a lot of R&D, you won't be able to complete it. So in 2008, I started with a theory of making two-wheelers. And that two-wheelers with a very basic that, because I myself is using motorbike, with the belief that electric two-wheelers should be able to ride like 100 kilometers per hour. And for a single charge, it should be able to bring you to about 100-kilometer range. Okay. So and with that, it took me for surprise that I actually complete the whole technologies in 5 years time. I thought I can do it in a year or two, but along the way, there's a lot of challenges for me to solve. Especially on going on the road, our Malaysian road or any of the road, the vibration is so severe. Yeah. The battery will degrade very fast. I have to totally revisit into the design of how the battery can last you more than 5 years. Not only that, charging time, how you're going to bring the temperature down on the battery to do efficient charging. You want to do electric vehicle, you don't want to use up too much energy from our electricity. So it took me 5 years. After 5 years, complete the technology, you need to apply for JBJ approval. Okay. So I managed to get JBJ approval, which during that time, our government also started very early to look into the policy of putting electric vehicle, especially two-wheelers, on the road. So the act already approved in 2011, and I got JPJ. Yeah, 2011, our cabinet already approved electric two-wheelers policy. So the process is you have to send it to CRIP to comply to all the criteria. After you comply all the criteria, you have to send to JPJ to do a final approval. Okay. So in 2012, I got my JPJ approval. I can register the bike. I got road tax. You can actually run the bike freely. Go to JPJ, register. You can run the bike. So I was so proud that. But in terms of new technology, the price is so high. How can you compete with the combustion bike, which already established decades ago? Right? So the price is very, very high. So what you're going to do, you cannot be saying that you're so proud of your technology, but you don't have sales. And you want to sell it to the consumer. Nobody heard of Eclimo, and you have not proven. And furthermore, electric range anxiety is a very big problem. Where I'm going to charge? What if I halfway through I don't have electricity? You don't have energy. So then from there, after you spend on R&D, you get JBJ approval. I have to put in more money to invest on it. To come up with a new business strategy, which is a subscription based or a rental based. Because if people will want to buy the bike, you need to go for a loan. So people worry that whether you can actually compete with other brands. So I came up with a rental. You don't have to worry on capex. You just pay as you go. And that's how I started to have a first customer in 2013 August. So I have my first customer. And that is a good opportunity for me. Why? Because you have the technology, you have a customer to use it. Along the way, you have to learn, because I only know battery. I don't know about automotive. You need to know whether the absorber works or not, the brake works or not, whether which tire is good. So I have a very good start. I have a good customer to start off, and and there until today. So I from there onwards, I'm very clear where should be my business strategy, which is and lucky enough that e-commerce increasing year by year.
Yep.
And e-commerce is like not like previously when you want to use motorbike, you go to work, you park there. After your working hours, you go out and use the bike. Averagely, you only use about maybe 60 kilometer, and the whole day you're actually parking at your office. You are not using it. But when e-commerce is different, e-commerce is starting from say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. They already go out to deliver parcel. They can go out delivery food, and it's like the whole day from 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it go until at night 10, 11 o'clock. So you can see that in between, after office hour, you can see a lot of motorbikes on the road now. True. Compared to previously. So with that, electric is just the very best vehicle for them to use it. Why? Because as we know, electric vehicle, you only need to charge it. You don't have engine, you don't have lubricant oil, you don't have spark plug, so you actually reduce a lot of maintenance work. So it's actually electric vehicle built for this business platform, which is the e-commerce platform. So from there, I started with a food delivery. They rented out to use the bike for food delivery. Now I go into a parcel delivery, and going forward, it's we call it as our bike as a utility bike. So I see that the potential is pretty huge for these electric two-wheelers.
Right. I'm gonna hijack Karam a little bit here because hearing everything you said, it sounds so logical. It sounds all the points connect. Everything you said from beginning to the point that you mentioned about how the e-commerce, how delivery services, how actually electrical bikes, and you're right, I understand engineering. You have very little parts in an electrical bike compared to a combustion engine. It really makes so much sense. But usually the challenge is adoption, isn't it? So I guess my question is, how did you get people to adopt it in the first place? Having something like this is like as logical as it can be, is like before, years and years before, when they came up with the combustion engine, when they came up with petroleum. How did they get people to adopt that? Only then it became mass use. In your case, how did you get people to adopt it?
Let me tell you, before the adoption, of course, the story never go as what you think. Before you get the adoption for people to use it, just now when you start about the E&E sector, the demand is pretty huge. We have shortage. Electric vehicle, electric two-wheelers is not mechanical anymore. It's more on E&E, electrical and engineering. You need semiconductor, you need IC, you need a PCB, you have a battery management system in the battery, you have controller in your motor. So 80% of it is all electronics. And right now, shortage. Because of last year pandemic, a lot of factories have closed down, and now you're actually facing a lot of shortage of IC. That is definitely one. Second is because of your volume. My volume is very, very slow compared to the rest of the world. True. So the volume is small. How are you going to purchase this material? I can be a design whereby 80% of it involves electronics. We are very strong in electronic design. If you complete all the design, the electronics, but you still need to manufacture it. So that is where you are facing hard time on making this work. Then you go for the adoption. Adoption, when you talk about adoption for customer to use it, when you say that this is electric vehicle, you save the world, this is sustainable, you don't emit CO2. But when it comes to dollar and cent, you still need to convince that it's actually cheaper than a combustion vehicle. So it's pretty tough. But along the way, after you test it out, you try it out, you will see that you save a lot indirectly. When I say indirectly, of course, our petrol price is pretty affordable compared to the neighboring country. You can't compete, or the return on investment is pretty long. But indirectly, meaning that, for instance, you just take example like delivery riders. today, the Levis riders are no longer riding 60 kilometers a day. They are riding 100 to 170 kilometers a day.
Wow.
And every week, you need to change lubricant oil. It's not like 3 months down the road, you change lubricant oil. 1 month later, you need to take care of your spark plug. You need to take care of your chain, your sprocket, your gearing. So this maintenance is actually, they have a downtime when sending their bikes for maintenance. Whereby EV, you only need to take care of your brake and probably your brake pads, your tire, your absorber. So the downtime for the riders, as long as the bike is fit for them to go out, they're actually making income. If the bike is down to the workshop, they don't have income. So we have indirectly, after a while, when they look, they use it after 2 weeks or a month, they can see that there's a lot of savings for them. Their income will increase. So that is how you need to be able to go to the field and do a trial together with the riders. And when they see savings, they will definitely adopt it.
Okay. So, but before everybody forgets, Dennis, right? After school in Penang, he went for a diploma. He's got a diploma in is it in electrical engineering, right, Dennis?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So only a diploma, and he has, after that, through working with the right companies, he has self-taught himself, right? A lot of this R&D comes from his own, innate curiosity and incredible intelligence. So he admitted to me that he was never good in studying, right? But despite that, this is studying the formal, right? 8 subjects in school or 9 subjects, and look at what he has done, right? With just his interest, right, in this area, which is absolutely incredible. So
yeah, I have to tell you that it's still the same. I only focus in one subject, that is to improve the battery capacity, the battery life, the product of it. Of course, I have a team, I have a colleague that support me on the product. But the directions of the key of the material is the battery, the energy. Because first thing, when you want to ride an electric vehicle or electric two-wheelers, you're worried on whether the battery will need to reinvest after 5 years. That is a huge investment. And you are talking about range anxiety. Every day, can the bike break down or not without energy? So all these things that you need to able to develop until you are not talking about developing the bike can run you 400 kilometers. You need to be able to, you cannot cover the whole market. Malaysia have about we have about 11 million bikes on the road. Every year we have about 500,000 new users. So the bike market, even in Malaysia people say that the market is small, but we have a high market for two-wheelers. Yes. So, but you cannot cater to all, because you have 20 models in a market and you cannot cater to all. So I'm very focused into the utility market, the e-commerce market. It can be also a security patrolling. Security patrolling, for instance, that there is a security patrolling for a golf resort. A golf resort can be 24 hours. And 24 hours, it's so surprised that this bike is running 24 hours. Why? Because the battery can charge anytime. The moment the security guard stopped for after the patrolling, let's say half an hour, they got another half an hour rest. They can actually plug in and charge. Then every half an hour they charge the bike, they can actually bring them to about 15 to 20 kilometers. So you don't have to worry where a security guard go out 7-8 kilometers away to pump petrol and come back probably like 1 hour later, 1.5 hours later. So there's a lot of benefits into that.
Yeah. So the recharging is done on premise, right? Like you say, you don't have to leave. Okay, that's valuable.
Yeah, so 3 hours. Convenient. So when customer adopt the bike, then only they talk about, I'm green. For instance, I'm riding 100 kilometers a day. I'm saving for TMB electricity. We calculated that you can actually save 7 kilo of CO2. So after they can adopt the bike, it's economical for them to adopt the bike. It's cheaper compared to combustion. Then after that, they will appreciate that you actually reduce CO2 by 7 kilo if you ride 100 kilometers. So that is also that is also a very key important message that today you look at it. I think you from Malaysia you go out, you can see blue sky, but CO2 you cannot see. CO2, one liter of petrol, you're actually emitting 2.36 kilo of CO2. So 100 kilometer, if you save 7 kilo of CO2, that is huge.
You're
And
right,
one year, just one bike, you can actually save 2 to 2.5 ton of CO2. That is tremendous. So this awareness has to be spread to everybody.
Dennis, you need to tell Greta Thunberg about this, man. She'll be your new best friend. Huh? Really? Okay, just quickly, we're going to go to the next guest, but I'm going to just ask one question. You have actually brought in two investors, right? In the form of Rina Neo and Yuman. What do you hope they can bring to the table? I know you told me that you expect them to bring in big money, but what will they do for Eclimo, right?
The most important thing is you can actually develop the product, but you still need to be able to manage the company. You have to have a different skill of people to manage a whole company. It cannot be just by our self-engineering team and go and take care of financial. We can actually keep on spending to improve the technology, but somebody have to look at it, say, oh, this is where your funding is. You cannot overspend it. You have to look at the market. So Rina, Yuman, they are actually very, very experienced, especially Rina investor. When it comes to Yuman is a very successful investment officer in a very huge company. So I brought them in to hopefully that we can actually able to have a team whereby we are going the right way in our company corporate direction, and also the product is not only Malaysia. The product for ASEAN country, if you look at ASEAN country, motorbike two-wheelers is huge. The user is huge. If you compare to Indonesia, every month there are 600,000 new users. Compared to Malaysia, it's 450.
So, every month, wow.
This will gear us up to be able to have a presence in ASEAN countries.
Okay, fine. Anyway, a quick note to Indonesians, right? Stop producing so many babies, man. Not good for the environment also. With that family planning message, hopefully I've not sparked a diplomatic incident. So let's Dennis, thank you very much for your time. Maybe you know bring on the next guest and stay on, Dennis. I'll bring you back in the end.
Yeah, sure. Well, Karam, you'll know if you suddenly get the Indonesian police coming to your house, lah.
No. Okay. You go to DNA's website, you see the Indonesian flag within. I think I've been taken over. Ransomware. Hijack.
Hey, wait. So now the color makes sense. Red and also white. Okay. All right. Time to bring our second guest. And he joined us also while the show was going on. A busy man. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him on. You will know why he's a busy man, because he is Forbes 30 under 30. You don't get there by not hustling. And also the CEO of Omnilytics, ladies and gentlemen, Kendrick Wong. And what we're discussing puts the eye in fashion retail. Hey, Kendrick.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Cool. Hey, Kendrick. So let's get right to it. You were in, and the reason why we brought you on is you were in the news recently. And I know you don't like to be in the news, right? When you raise funding, you don't like to have it announced, but this had to be done. You made an acquisition, US 20 million, combination of equity and cash. We don't know what combination that is, so I'm gonna have to torture you off camera for you to tell us, what ratio that was. But that aside, and coincidentally, you ended up acquiring a Malaysian company, right? So, but before sorry again.
Superhands.
Superhands, yeah, Malaysian company. So. But so maybe you publicly it shows that you've actually raised less than $1 million. So how will you explain how you're able to make this acquisition?
Yeah, publicly we announced we raised 400,000 USD to be exact. But we raised a lot more privately, which we didn't announce, from a combination of VCs, East Ventures 500, as well as private equity and family offices. So our company is quite well funded. We raised a few rounds already. We just have never announced any form of fundraising.
Correct.
But the acquisition of Superhands was done largely off our own balance sheet, as well as a little bit from investors.
Wow! Can you imagine? So this is I would think that a large portion of that 20 million is in the form of equity or shares, right? And if Mark takes that, Mark Co, that's very good for him and his other co-founders, right? Because a lot more upside. Because the way you talk about how you're trying to build a stack, right? It's very exciting. So that's good. So okay, now we understand why. So let's just move on to the second question, Kendrick, which is that I want to take you back to 2013 when you came back from the UK. And if readers go online, viewers go online, you can see that Mark, when he was in the UK, actually was involved in 2 brick and mortar companies in the supply chain and sold out of both companies, right? And then came back to Malaysia because obviously it's Malaysian. You started with Shopper, and Omnilytics was actually a subset of Shopper, right? Supporting product. So what made you realize that actually the real value to the market lay in Omnilytics?
Maybe a bit before that, one of the earlier companies that I launched was to do with basically arbitraging the market in physical products. So it's simply identifying what is supplied, what's demanded, right? And then you produce in between. It's simple arbitrage. You get a product. That product already exists, maybe from China, from India, from somewhere else. You supply that into the markets that's requiring for this simple arbitrage in terms of the products.
Okay.
Now Omnilytics, right, is simply that business model recreated. What we're doing is very similar. We're simply collecting data on what is being demanded in the market, what's being supplied, and we're telling our customers to produce what's in between. Either produce it themselves or find somewhere to produce it, or maybe there's a demand for their products within the market and not into at this point in time. Shopper was entirely different. Shopper was focused on the marketing automation aspect of things, so e-commerce affiliate marketing. So that one was identification of where should I purchase my products. If I'm a customer, if I'm a consumer, where should I look to purchase a product? So we actually there was a separation between Shopper and Omnilytics.
Oh.
We had Shopper. After that, we basically sold the aspect of Shopper. We built everything using a slightly different team with Omnilytics, and took that forward. The difference between the two of them was mainly that Shopper focused on the consumer front end, so it's basically interacting with the B2C audience.
Okay.
Omnilytics is entirely B2B. We have no form of B2C aspect. It's just supplying data to what is being demanded and supplied within the market at this point in time.
Understood. And by the way, just quickly, I think you've got one of the a listed fashion brand from Germany that is the parent of Zalora. They are a customer of yours also, right?
Yep, that's the global fashion group. That's correct.
Okay, so I bring that up because just to show viewers and let viewers know that he's got global customers and very big customers. So obviously his product is very valuable in the market. Now let me just go back to Super Hands. I actually jump to question 3. Why did you buy Super Hands? What value did you see? Because it's very interesting. When you acquired Super Hands, you said that it will help you to become like a preferred, the most important data stack, right, in retail. So can you tell viewers what exactly that means and how the Super Hands plug into the product you are already building?
So our customer ranges are mainly global audiences. So it's like companies like GFG is one. We have companies like Lensing, companies like Adidas, and the like of this. Now, these kind of customers, right, they are looking for very high accuracy in terms of for the data.
Okay.
Now, how we do it, right, is that because we collect. So let's say what Omnilytics does, right, is we go to different websites around the world. We pull out every single data we can from the website itself. We normalize it, we standardize it, and that's using image and text recognition. Now, if you want to normalize the amount of data we're doing, right, it's about 25 billion data points a day. You have to automate image recognition.
25 billion data points a day.
25 billion data points a day.
Such a number.
It's a bit large. But you can just imagine, right, that you want to sort through all this amount of data, you have to automate it. You can't do it using any form of human efforts. So where Super Hands comes into play, right, is that they help us create the models that does the automation of the images. So let's imagine that I'm wearing a dark green colored t-shirt. The classification is a round neck, it's short sleeve, it's dark green. Maybe it's made out of cotton, maybe there's a bit of polyester inside. Maybe on the back there's a print, for example. All these attributes, right, what a company like Super Hands will initially label to a product. Now imagine this, you do it 10,000 times, you have this thing called the golden data set, or just a simple data set basically. You take this data set, now you know 10,000 products of what is a green color short sleeve t-shirt, round neck with a print behind made of a combination between cotton and polyester, for example. And then you have, let's say, 1 million products that is not this is the same example. So then the image model understands, right? It understands what we're looking at, understands what we want to see more of. You can reclassify any future green color short sleeve crew neck t-shirt in the market that we see today. So that's where Superhands comes into play. Any additional models we want to create, they can do that. Now let's imagine a different way of thinking. Let's say that I want to take this product, but instead of reclassifying, I want to find the exact same product in the market because maybe I'm selling something similar in the market today. I want to know who my competition is. Or maybe I'm not selling this product well. I want to know whether my competitor is not selling it well or not, so they share my misery with me. But maybe what ends up happening is that we cannot find the exact same product, right?
Okay.
Because every single brand has a different naming convention for their product. So Superhands again comes into play here. How are we able to define every single attribute of a product to such granular details that regardless of what naming convention there is, we can match it using the image. Regardless of lighting, regardless of angle, we can match the products against each other. That's where Superhands comes into play again. So basically, that's the reason why we acquired Superhands.
Okay, wow, interesting. So they do the boring, unglamorous work of teaching the algorithm, right, to become smart. So it really becomes an AI, a piece of software, right? So they do that part, and then you use that enhanced granularity to offer better. Then the information becomes, you can extract insight from the information, right? So it becomes valuable, and hence, clients, you can give them better information. So that makes sense. Interesting.
That's correct. Wow. But if you talk to my head of data science, he can tell you that Superhands is a beautiful company because he needs this data set to live.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Your head of data science was actually working in CERN labs in Bern, right, Switzerland, correct?
Yes.
So it's a nuclear physicist or something.
Yeah, he was a nuclear physicist before he joined us. He did his PhD in particle physics, doctorate in particle physics as well. Then he went to CERN.
Wow. Okay. So, by the way, this is important. I bring this up because you got somebody of that stature, and thankfully, because of affairs of the heart, he was in Malaysia, right? He ended up marrying a Malaysian, so he's living in Malaysia now. So, hence, he came into Kendrick's, radar, and that's how he managed to get someone of that caliber. And he's the chief data scientist. And I think, Kendrick, you've got a data science team of 15 people. You're telling me, right? And he's the chief data scientist. So a lot of people say they've got data science team and data scientists, but this Omnilytics has got really hardcore chief data scientists and got data scientists also. So that's why they can also produce this kind of insight information.
There was a joke because when James messaged me, I was like, his name is Dr. James Smith. I was like, this guy's not real. So I said, meet me in this place at this point in time. So I arrived there in a t-shirt, in shorts, and in slippers. He came in a 3-piece suit. That was embarrassing.
Oh, okay. So you mean when he was looking to join you, right? And when you saw the name like that, you thought this must be a gag lah, and that's why you dress in your sandals and slippers lah, whatnot.
Yeah, I thought I'd just be there to have lunch and I disappear. But he's trained the team very well. Like most of our developers, if they leave us, they end up in Facebook or Google or the like of those.
Wow.
So there's a good track record of that.
Fantastic.
So James does a very good job.
So great. So it looks like you're building a really amazing technology stack, right? And I think I know you did tell me that you're on the verge of announcing your next round of funding, right? So that's all good news lah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just a quick one in terms of lessons, right? I know in the previous interview with DNA, Kendrick, you have said that it's important to learn lessons from failures also, right? So it feels like you're on the cusp of where you're going to, when you announce the next round, your valuation will be not nice. Of course, not unicorn yet. And I think you said also you're not in a rush to be a unicorn in the earlier interview also, right? You're going to do it properly and build the blocks, strong foundation blocks. But what lessons have you learned from your past failures, right, that you think sets Omnilytics and yourself up, to become that unicorn eventually?
So we have a saying in the company that every team uses, which is, we believe that failure is an option. We can choose to fail. And the reason why failure is an option is because if you don't choose to fail, you never experiment and you never grow. So we will always push our team to always fail fast and always fail quick and always learn from their failures. Most what we found at least is that when we onboard new team members, there's a hesitance to fail.
Oh.
And the reason why there's a hesitance to fail is because there's a fear that if we fail, then we are looked down upon, or we're not seen as bright as we were thought, or maybe our team members don't trust us as much. But the moment you tell your team that you're okay to fail, and you're okay to fail fast, and you tell people about what failures you have done, then it becomes the story entirely changes. So that's what is very important at this point in time. Now, in terms of my failures, I don't know, I have too many to count. I have way too many.
What's your, okay, just share your most embarrassing one. You look back and say, no way, why did I even think that was a good idea?
Oh, I also need to think about that, because the thing about me is that I don't really find things embarrassing.
Wow,
so when
good,
I do something,
it's like, that's good, that's good.
Yeah, my skin is like super thick at this point in time. I mean, I think you need that to be an entrepreneur.
That's true.
You get like 1,000 rejections every single day, right? So the moment you're, let me try to think.
Maybe the first one that is on your mind right now. The first one maybe could have been something very recent as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, so while Dennis figures that out and thinks about it, I think this is a good time to also. Kendrick figures this out and thinks about it. Let's bring Dennis back on. So Dennis is coming back on. There you go. So Dennis, welcome back to the show again. So Kendrick right now is thinking
what
right
Kendrick
now
is thinking. Actually, I've got a question for Dennis, because there's another link with both of them. Singapore is a link also that both of them had experiences. Let me start with you first, Dennis, before Kendrick. You have received equity offer, and part of the equity offer is to relocate to Singapore and become a Singapore company, and you turned it down. But there was a very logical reason why you did that. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and before I share that, it's good that I get to listen to what Kendrick has shared, because this is also a very important key for electric vehicle, especially on electric two-wheelers. For instance, that before we reach the data for the riders or customers, detect on customers how they ride the bike. For me, data is also pretty important, because, for instance, just a very, very simple explanation, like when I drive a car, I only look at the meter, how much kilometer I have drove. For instance, every 10,000 you have to change your lubricant oil. You won't know whether you need to change or not. So for electric vehicle, we shouldn't go into that pre-scheduled maintenance. Today, the data that I'm collecting, it's on the vehicle itself. You're actually collecting data from the battery, from the motor. Then it can actually predetermine whether this bike needs to service 2 months later or 2 weeks later. That is pretty important, because we don't want the riders to have a sudden breakdown and spoil all their work. And so this is data where it's very, very important, whereby that's why I say that we need more people, especially in Penang, where I actually, my hometown, it's easier for me to access to talents on the semiconductor field. And furthermore, the moment that you think that it's complete, you think that the technology is ready, but you still need the bike. Say not only one bike, you need 100 bikes or 200 bikes to run on the road and validate whether this is what you think it should be the complete product. So where a couple of years back, whatever things that I think that is ready, but it's not. So whenever you still need to have an actual product to run on the road and get so-called a product which is
real validation,
real validation, so localized in Penang, and easy for me to access, to get a rider to run it, to get a customer, to get semiconductor, and the invitation on the money is good. But if you look at it, if I move to Singapore, the bike market is probably only like 20 to 30,000 motorbikes in the country. You can get a very good investment, but when it comes to the products, where I know that ASEAN country is the market, if I don't validate the technology today and I do it in Singapore, I may I may be happy with the money, but most probably I don't have the others connections to make the product perfect. So and also with the experience of already in this for 20 years, I know which area or which industry able to support very particular for electric two-wheelers. That's where I still stay in Penang. And I also would like to share that for these 15 years, Malaysia government, I would say that of course the national automotive policy for electric vehicle people are looking forward to. It's not ready. But when you talk about the industry, they have been supporting industry like grants, supporting on doing research, doing development. They provide grants for you to enhance your product. Of course, they don't provide you with free money. You need to contribute it, and the government support is just a bonus for you to matching grant. So with all the I would say that my 20 years of entrepreneurships, I already have the connection, the network in Malaysia. So not just decide based on money that you're going to get, but I think to make the whole ecosystem, the whole solution, the whole product to be able to go into ASEAN country. That's how I make decisions to stay in Malaysia.
Just quick one. You mentioned government. I think which was the most helpful government agency for you? Just a quick one.
I would say that I'm pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fortunate where I actually get most government that you can think of. They are actually supporting me. Agencies in MITI, agencies in MOSTI. These two agencies like MITI and MOSTI, I work through their agency. They've been very, very supportive since day one. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. If you don't want to name any agency, that's fine. Good. So, sorry.
Why la?
You put up your hand like that. So, okay. What about you, Kendrick?
For me, government agency.
No, you put up your hand like you mentioned agency or something. I didn't catch it.
I was very keen to hear Dennis's answer because I'm still keen. Like there's one, right?
Of course, I would like to share. In the beginning, the agency for MOSTI, like MTDC. MTDC
is Malaysian Technology Development Corporation. Okay, fine. All right.
Yes, correct. MTDC, and they've been continuously support, not only in terms of grant. They have all the networking that you can actually get assistance from them. I also have like Nano Malaysia. Nano Malaysia is pretty supportive in terms of how I'm able to improve into a nano level. So these two have been working very closely, but I still have the other agencies that we can actually. I mean, for me, it's like in the automotive, it's Mari.
Yes,
very, very helpful, Mari. So when you come to the electric vehicle, everybody is looking at why Malaysia there's no automotive policy. But I look at it myself is that I'm actually research and development a product, a vehicle. I also hoping that the Malaysian government can able to subsidize people who buy electric vehicles, but this haven't come in place yet. I probably I have to keep on pushing the government.
True.
But on the other hand, the industry, people like Mari, people like MITI, people like MTDC, they are continuously support to hope that this product will able to bring and export to overseas. This is Malaysia have been export orientated, and you started with E&E. E&E is Malaysia, especially in Penang. They are very exporting high-end products to all over the world.
Penang is actually the E&E hub for Southeast Asia, right? On a per ratio, on a simple number, Singapore has got more engineers. But if you just talk, but based on the population, right, ratio of population to engineers, Penang has got the highest ratio of engineers of any city or state. Penang is a state, no city, in Southeast Asia. So you're definitely in the right place. Okay, come, let's move on to Kendrick now and ask Kendrick about this also, because he's I think early last year then he is in Malaysia. I mean, he's obviously a Malaysian, but okay, can explain, Kendrick, the Singapore equation now in your own words then.
The Singapore operation?
Yeah. So because you had to move, or not you had to, but you moved to the operations to Singapore. And I'll just explain that because there was the lure for Singapore also, and it's because of they created a specific incentive to combat the COVID, economic downturn, and you happen to benefit from that.
Yeah. So early on in early last year, we were working closely with the Singapore government to revitalize the e-com industry and the retail industry in Singapore. And so happened that because our company has already been headquartered in Singapore, mainly for the two reasons. One is to look into basically the team itself. The second one is for the structural setup to ensure that we're able to hire quickly and hire fast within the region, given that our team has 14 nationalities within it.
14.
And coincidentally, we were able to work with the government in Singapore to launch a few initiatives here to support the retail brands. There's one in particular, it's called the IMDA. Was a program under IMDA that provided basic grants towards e-com businesses and retail companies here that were affected by COVID. And we're one of the companies, one of the vendors that was supporting this initiative. So having said all that, because there was an opportunity as well, and because of my investments, I moved to Singapore temporarily for the past 7 months.
Oh yeah, you are right now in Singapore temporarily, but is the heart of the operations, Kendrick, still in Malaysia?
It's split between Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, and we're opening a US team, US office very soon.
Wow, that's with the neck. But US will be sales or a technology team, a particular skill set you're gonna hire there.
Management team. So it'll be a new HQ, yes, because you cannot operate in the US from Asia at this point in time.
Yeah, correct.
Time zone difference as well as the ability to sell towards the US market. So it's a management team that's also being hired in the US.
Wow, cool, man.
All
so
right.
it's truly going global, man. Well done, cool.
Nicely done,
Quite
nicely
fortunate
done.
for that.
All right. Thank you both. We are coming to the end of the show already. So really want to thank both Dennis and also Kendrick for coming on the show, answering some questions, giving us some insights to what you do and what each company is all about. And we've been leaving comments in all our channels, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, on the websites for each one. So like for Eclimo, it's www.eclimo.com. And if you want to check out about Omnilytics, it's omnilytics.co. And if you want to actually reach out to any one of them, but also they're busy people, so if you don't get a quick response, do give them some time. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. All right. So we've come to the end of the show. And once again, got to let everybody know that this is some sort of the end to a beginning kind of thing. So you heard the news at the beginning, where right now Tech Talk is going to continue on. It's going to become a bi-weekly show, and Karam now is going to become a special guest host from time to time. I will continue to host a Tech Talk, and we're going to pivot it a little bit more towards building understanding about tech in all spaces, whether it's innovation, business, society, and also how you can play a role in the world of tech. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. I think if our producer wants to just simply flash up that image one more time, I think he had there you go. He enjoyed putting this together. So ladies and gentlemen,
we'll be producing this on decals on your mugs. Anybody wants a mug with this, please send me.
Oh yo, look at Karam. He's already trying to make a business out of this already.
Only limited, only 9 million. Only 9 million mugs are available. So
9 million. How do you call that limited, Karam?
Hey, global demand. 9 million is not a lot, man.
Sure. Okay. Whatever that floats your boat. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for Tech Talk Friday. Yeah. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Yeah. We will see you again on Tech Talk 2 weeks from now. Watch all the spaces. You'll find out the news on what's going to happen in the next Tech Talk. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks.